Though it doesn't quite lend itself to the medium, there have been plenty of pro wrestling themed board games over the years. There's the classic WrestleMania VCR game, plus all of WWE's subsequent trivia games over the years. There's the Superstar Pro Wrestling game, and of course a host of other RPG-based games created by ardent fans. This week I'm talking about Wrestling Madness, a board game I discovered made by a company called Games 2 Toys. Games 2 Toys appears to be defunct based on the fact that their website currently looks like this, and there isn't a whole lot of information I could find about them or this game. According to the box, Wrestling Madness was trademarked in 1991, but there's a press release about the game on onlineworldofwrestling.com that was published in 2007, as if the game had just come out. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this game, or at least my version of it, did not come out in 91. Well, time to open the box and see what we find. Whoever put this game together, it's obvious that graphic design was not their forte. Apparently all it takes to make a board game anymore is a passing knowledge of Photoshop, a love of wacky fonts, and clashing color schemes. Look at this crowd hastily slapped onto the board. Looks like a pile of vomit with heads attached. The crowd from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out looks better than this. Also, how many rectangular wrestling rings have you seen? Now I know what this board reminds me of. Looking at this board reminds me of every crappy indie wrestling poster I've ever seen. You see them all the time on Facebook. They're everywhere and they're awful, and this board looks just like it. Travel the mad wrestling circuit, earning money and wrestling your way to the top of the wrestling world. Seems like a lot of uses of the word wrestling for one sentence, don't you think? You must earn $100,000 before getting the chance to take on the Mad Wrestling Federation's champion. The first player to defeat this champion is the new Mad Wrestling Champion of the world and winner of the game. You start the matches by landing on the corner squares. The wrestling matches themselves kind of play like the card game War. You and another player each throw down a move card at the same time without looking first, and whoever has the more powerful move wins the round. You play a best of 5 series to determine who wins the match and the money. Let's look at the moves you get to choose from. You've got a body slam, a mule kick, dive bomber, corkscrew, wishbone, slingshot, and pile driver. Each move includes a list of other moves it can beat and can be beat by. For example, a wishbone beats a mule kick, a body slam beats a pile driver, wait a minute, no it doesn't! A body slam is not more powerful than a pile driver, yet the body slam card is one of the most powerful cards in the game. It beats almost every other move. How does that work? Well, maybe I'm wrong. After all, if you believe Hulk Hogan, that body slam to Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 practically killed him. Let's take a closer look at the individual spaces on this board. The spaces in between the corners are of almost no consequence. There are spaces that tell you to lose or gain new move cards, but since the outcomes of your matches have more to do with dumb luck than strategy, there's not much incentive to hold on to specific cards. The money you gain and lose with these spaces don't matter either. You're trying to earn $100,000 to get to the end, which if you're lucky you can win in just a few matches by landing on the corner squares. Meanwhile, these side spaces have you gaining or losing piddly amounts like $3,000 to $5,000. I really can't imagine these spaces making much of an impact. You start and end the game on this championship invitational spot, but if you land on it before you get the $100,000 needed to go to the title match, nothing happens. You'd think it'd be like the Go space in Monopoly where you get some money, but nope, nothing. What a waste of a board space. Go back 3 spaces. Yeah, and take this shitty MS Paint road to get there. Because the road symbolizes, the road that wrestlers have to go on to get to where they're going in their careers. I don't know, you figure it out. Sore loser, lose 1 turn. I consider myself to be a pretty big wrestling buff, I know a lot about the history and the traditions and the big players in it, but I must have missed the story in which someone grabbed a cat chupacabra hybrid by the tail in the middle of a wrestling match. What the hell does this image have anything to do with wrestling? What's it got to do with losing a turn? Did the makers of this game just make a lose a turn space and realize they had no artwork to put there, so at the last minute they drew up this creature born from their nightmares? Well, that in a nutshell is Wrestling Madness. Even if you can get past the shoddy look of the game board and the useless side spaces, this is not a great board game experience. If it weren't for the part that lets you go up against other players, it'd be the worst version of Monopoly ever. You're better off just ditching the board and using the cards to play a game of wrestling war with your friends. I give it 2 out of 5 angry cat things. Be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirt. I'm Brian Zane, and you know what? I'm kind of curious about something right now. Excuse me for a minute.
Well, yeah, man, like I was saying, there's a show on the 21st. You can come on down. It sounds like what the hell? Ah!
It's true!